let's call it Monday, the 12th of August, from Selectboard in Jamaica. The opening gambit is always asking for agendas, additional items for the agenda. I have one thing that came up just the other day that we need to act on, but it's got to do with the deputy fire warden. Talk to you about that, because it's really good, it's just paperwork. We actually did the work last time. All right. Hearing no additions, let's move on to approving the minutes of July 22nd.
Hold on, I just have a question about.
Sure. I
got this local and regional input questionnaire about Bridge 32.
Mm-hmm.
And the preface of that from Marion Major from Wyndham Regional was to present this to the town and see how we could be of best service.
Can we define the town? Is that
They want
presented
to
in the
know
Selectboard?
how we might, who would look at this questionnaire for
Right.
everything, and how are we gonna,
Do you want to?
how are we gonna talk about this?
Okay, it's not on the agenda. You want to bring it up and add it to it?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, what's that?
Let's do that.
Okay. All right, good. Select board minutes from the 22nd. Did you all get them? They were all distributed electronically, plus they're in your books. I think they were really pretty good. I have one question under the sheriff, under paragraph 9. Paragraph 9, halfway down, it says, they have removed the cart from Depot Street. Can we put in the radar cart? So we know which cart it was that
I
they
didn't know
removed.
what kind of card it was.
Yeah, let's call it the radar cart, or the speed cart. Just so we know which cart they're talking about. Any other corrections, additions, deletions? Okay.
I move that we accept the minutes as written, I mean, as altered, what?
Amended, let's call it.
Amended.
Yeah, as opposed to alternate.
Whatever.
Sure.
Second.
And a second, any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye, minutes are accepted. Thank you very much, Sarah. Excellent. The next item, of course, is the approval of the time sheets for the town office, Lister's Highway Transfer Station, and as usual, we'll do those at the end of the day, and the select board orders. The next one is review the letter received from the State Department of Health regarding the town officer. This has come up in the past. We talked about this
Health
a
officer.
couple weeks ago about the health officer position. We got a letter from Meg McCarthy, who's the compliance and enforcement advisor, and they're asking for a recommendation from the select board for a town health officer. And they describe pretty much what we've talked about in the past. But she's saying if you designate a new individual to be appointed to this position, please ensure that the recommended individual takes the enclosed oath affirmation. And she sent the paperwork and the oath and the affirmation. We don't have any people. We have everything, but we don't have a person. So we don't have a deputy health officer, which we've been posted. We've had that posted for about a month now, huh? And we need to have a
No
health.
one's stepping forward.
What's that?
No one's stepping forward.
We've had no volunteers yet at all. And so I turn to the rest of the people in Jamaica. This doesn't require any medical background. It's an opportunity to help out in the town. It's not a real busy proposition. I mean, now that we've gotten Irene behind us, that I think was your busiest time, wasn't it? Right around Irene?
For everybody.
For everybody, yeah. But we need a deputy and we need a health commissioner.
Officer.
A health officer rather, sorry. And so I just want to get that out again, because they're now asking us to do that.
And that letter they would ask at the end of any term.
I'm sure. This is dated the 1st of August. I think it's just a generic one. But again, they're alerting us to the fact that we need one.
And if no one steps forward, we as the select board inherit it, particularly the select board chair. Because we're the Jamaica Board of Health,
We are, in fact.
the select board is.
And in fact, we are the Board of Health with or without an officer. We just luckily have an officer who's got the experience and the expertise to be able to fulfill it. So, so that it doesn't end up being a committee assignment for us all to deal with every little situation. It would be a whole lot better if we had somebody who would be able to do that.
I'm your current health officer, and I'm up in the middle of September, and I've done it for 9 years, so
Yeah, it's.
You've certainly done your
we're
share.
not looking for,
Lifetime appointment.
no, I'm not
Sure.
looking for kudos for that, but it's time to give it up.
Yeah. And it should be shared within the community. It shouldn't just be a
Like to be a resident, I think.
So if anyone is interested, we could get someone to let us know here at the town office. We can follow up on that. Your hand is raised, yes?
Yes, there's two possible suggestions. It's not a very good job, especially no pay. Maybe it could be a paid job, number one. And the second suggestion might be to join with other towns, because I'm sure they have the same problem.
I think that it probably is. We do have, which changed just recently, a stipend that you're able to receive to cover your expenses. So that's something. But it may turn out to be something like that.
Just an idea.
Yeah, it may turn out to be something along those lines.
Sometime it may have to be an agenda item to make it a paid position. A lot of the smaller towns are having
Oh, they do
that too. As the job has become a little more complicated with new laws
All the
from
regulations.
the legislature.
Do you know what any of the adjacent towns are doing right now?
Most of them have one, at least.
I mean, are they paid or are they volunteer?
The small towns are volunteer, but what I've been reading on the email list I get is a lot of people are dropping out because it's becoming a little more time consuming. I don't really want to go on about that because it's really not going to help enlist anyone.
Yes. Gotcha.
But it's doable, and the board would be, not speaking for the whole board, but we would be open to help any way we could, whether it become a paid position, run that by the taxpayers, or we're supposed to have one.
Yeah, and that was, again, so like you alluded to, so many of these volunteer positions over the years have grown tremendously because of the unfunded, I might add, unfunded mandates coming from Montpelier about how to manage it. And so there's some complications. I hope to be able to find somebody with your talents.
It sounds like the next thing they'll be looking at is how undoable it is to lay on more. The legislature it's not going to backfire, but they're just looking for a way to get, you know what it is, it's about rental inspections statewide. The bigger municipalities have a code, that they go by, and I do that loosely, but now I have to go by that, and then there's a lot of filing now that I'm not willing to do.
Right. Well, let's see where this goes. I mean, if it doesn't work, then the select board will take it over and we'll do the best we can. But that's, again, it's awfully hard to run something like that by committee. So anybody has any suggestions, we will more than happy to back up anybody who's in that position. We're certainly not going to leave anybody out hanging to dry. All right, next item is the letter from BCTV. We received a letter, and I think we had some conversation about this some time back, that we had the representative from BCTV come in and talked about the need to increase our fees because of some legislation, again, I think it's federal legislation, which has reduced the money coming in to help support this sort of TV. So anyway, we got a letter, and this is a FCC decision. And it says, in light of this decision, this letter also serves to inform you that BCTV's standard rate for additional meeting coverage for meetings other than the select board meetings has increased from $100 per meeting to $150 per meeting. So we're covered for the regular select board meetings, but if we have specials like we've had in the past, that price has gone up. But they do a good job. We're certainly glad to have them on board, and we're very disappointed that they've been put in this kind of position. But I think, as we said when she was here, we support their work and appreciate it a lot.
Now, they did it, she did tell us that it had increased when she was here. So this is an increase upon the.
No,
first
this is the letter
increase?
confirming that.
Oh, okay.
This is just telling us what it's gone up to.
Oh, because for me, it sounded like there was another increase going on.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, this is the increase over what we've been getting. We've always paid $100, if we had something special, we have them come before, we pay $100 a session. And this is just raised to $150.
Okay.
So, and then we, as you recall, we approved, I can't remember how much.
400.
We,
The amount of money.
yeah, they put in a request for that, we approved it, I can't remember off the top of my head how much it was.
800.
800, was that what it was? Thank you. All right.
I know a lot of people watch
Oh, absolutely,
on
absolutely.
TV and do it even on internet. For
Yeah.
example, I can't get the channels, but we can watch it.
Best thing about internet, you can do it whenever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's, yeah, I watch it on the internet as well. Which, I believe, on the web, it's Brattleboro TV is the, dial it up, Google it. And it goes all, we've got the archives, it goes back years and years.
Yes, it does.
No. All right, the next item is the a letter from VLCT that we have regarding voting delegates. Every year we do the same thing. We are looking to find, and the other two gentlemen, we have Tom and Greg are both gone, and I haven't had a chance to bring this up to them before they left. But we're looking to send, maybe back up. VLCT operates with communication from from towns. Anybody on the select board, or probably anybody, can go to this VLCT, but they cannot represent the town and vote. So you have to have a voting delegate. And so they're asking us to assign or to identify, well, it says here, while all currently serving local officials will speak at the annual meeting, only designated city or town delegates may vote.
You've done that in the past,
A
right?
long time ago, and I can't remember who did it last year.
I did,
You went last year?
not the year before. I went.
Greg,
Yeah.
last year.
Greg went last.
Greg went last year, you went the year before. So it's I thought it was pretty interesting. Did you find that? Yeah.
Yes, I did.
And so any other, and I haven't had a chance to talk to the other guys about this, but it's certainly something to consider.
Does it say when it is?
What's that?
Does it tell you when it is?
Yep, it's on Wednesday. It starts at approximately 1 p.m. on Wednesday, October the 2nd. 1 p.m. That's the business meeting. Now, let me read the other dates for you here.
We should say what VLCT stands for the.
It does. This is where VLCT gets its marching orders in theory.
Vermont League of City and
Yeah,
Towns.
city-
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. VLCT stands for the Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns, correct, yeah. But this meeting is designed to get the leaders of VLCT to get information from the towns about where they want to go, what procedures they'd like to see attacked, and that sort of thing. Yep. So that's on, and I have all that information available. Anybody who's interested in doing that, please let me know or see our town clerk. We'll know where it is. The next item, we had discussed the water survey, and two of the members here, both of them have talked to me. We had planned on having the vote, the information meeting and the vote to move forward for the town meeting for the water survey. It was scheduled for
September 17th.
September 17th. The other two members have asked for more time. What they said to me was that they're going to go about getting information from other towns that have had similar experiences. So they have some real-time experience and examples of what happened to their tax rate, what happened to business rates from before the water and afterwards. And so they're in the process of gathering that, and they've asked for more time. And they asked me to, if the select board would be interested in putting off another month, perhaps into October. They didn't say specifically, they don't know exactly how long this is going to take, but they said September was not going to be enough time. Was the board comfortable with sliding it until October?
Yeah, unless we have any other issues that might create havoc.
Well, I don't know about create havoc, but after tomorrow I will find out, because I wanted to find out what y'all want to do first. Oftentimes when we get estimates of expenses, these kinds of things, there's a clock ticking. That estimate is only good for, say, 30 days or 60 days, after which all bets are off. So I explained to them last time that we moved it from August to September, and they didn't have any problem with that. So I'll call them tomorrow and find out if there's a problem with that, then we'll have to rethink it.
Come back to the drawing board.
Yeah, but I think it's fair. These guys want to gather as much information. They want to have as much information as possible, so that when we get to vote, we have something to go by. So they're doing a lot of legwork. Both of them are out of town tonight, sadly. I'm not sad, they're probably having a good time. I know Tom's having a great time. But we should at least give them, I think, enough time to gather that information. Is that all right with everybody? So I can't see the calendar from here. Does that have an October on it? Or is that the old calendar? It's got September.
3 months.
September is the only.
No, no, right here. It's the next 3 months.
Here's October.
Oh, good. We've been doing it, we've been planning it on Tuesday. And it's very much been the third Tuesday. That would be the 15th of October.
That's my birthday.
Oh, we can have cakes.
That's not your birthday. I know. You should.
Any excuse for cake.
Right, we'll still.
Does the 15th of October sound like a reasonable time? That gives them another month.
What's gonna say?
Sure.
Yeah, because I don't think people are breathing down our neck to get
No,
this
and
done,
I
so.
like to get it as correct as we possibly can. One of the things is that enough information to get. And I agree that the more information we have, the more likely we are to get, be able to answer questions when they give it to us.
Your estimates are not gonna change within a month's time. A year, yes, a month, no.
Well, what do you?
I mean, you know, any fluctuation, change.
I think there's people whose mind is made up now, clearly. But by sliding it, it gives this other faction enough time to gather the information to be able to at least present it to the board. The time, excuse me one second, the time click is, we can't warn it, we have to warn it. So 30 days, 30 to 45 days?
30 to 40 days.
Yeah, so if we move it to October the 15th, then we can warn it next month. Yeah, yes.
I just wanted to remind the board that, member of the Planning Commission, I've given you some preliminary documents about that already in terms of some hypothetical engineering scans that he's done in terms of looking at the math of tax rate and home values and things like that. And I think he'd still like to be able to present that at
Yes.
an informational session. So I just wanted to make sure that we had enough time for that as well.
When I got this, he said, I assume he was ready to present it. Is he ready to present that?
Yes.
I think so. So
Yeah.
these guys are trying to gather information from other towns.
Right, and that's a very good idea.
Who's operating history instead of hypothesis.
Right, right.
That makes
I
sense.
think it's good to have models and it's good to have
Sure.
real life experiences.
Okay, so let's set it for right now for the 15th of October.
Do you need a motion on that, or?
I don't think so. We could make a motion. I don't know that we move to do the last one, but what the heck, motion away.
Okay, I move that we set the meeting about the water survey, et cetera, on October the 15th.
Do I have a second?
Second.
And all in favor? Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the third aye, so that passes. So we'll move it to October the 15th, unless something comes up. I mean, we want to get this as right as we can. I don't
Right.
want to drag it out forever, but we do want to give everybody as much time as they can.
Yeah, I don't think we really should rush. This is a major deal.
Oh, yes. Okay, so the next item under, we got a letter from we talked a couple weeks ago about the deputy town forest fire warden, and we agreed that we were going to appoint Bob Stomsky. I got a letter back from the fire people today, and it came today. And what we need to do is re-sign and appoint it, because it's gotta go, it has to be signed again. You know this better than I do. It's gotta be signed by Stuart Barker, who's the current one. And then we as a select board sign it. I think they're gonna settle for 3 signatures. And then it's gotta go to the Forest Resource Protection, and then it goes to the Commissioner of Forests. And so right now Bob's operating in a temporary capacity.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like the cart before the horse, Dana West, fire chief. Bob was kind of signing out permits and stuff, and he really didn't have the authority to do so. He went to some classes and stuff, and now he can kind of temporarily do it, I guess.
Can you describe this role that he has?
This role is basically, it's assigned by the state. You got your state fire warden and your deputy fire warden. They basically are authorized to hand out burning permits to residents of Jamaica because they're knowledgeable of the burning conditions, environmental, whether we've had enough rain, it's too dry, the fire hazards are too great, they can shut them down. They also kind of control, what people are burning. It has to be natural material. As my role as fire chief, I only come into the picture when somebody's been doing something, burning something wrong, or it's out of control. I don't answer to them, they don't answer to me, they answer to the state.
Yep.
But we work together when something goes wrong. They are, I don't think they go out and they can shut somebody down from burning if it's not appropriate to burn. And then they can call us in for support to put it out and contain it. I don't know, there's fines or something, but they're nothing. So,
It's certainly nothing compared to the damage.
but they keep track of who's burning and in the town, and we, in the fire department, now have an app, phone app, that we can communicate to each other, and Stuart Barker, the fire warden for the town, and Bob Stomsky, the temporary deputy, or will be deputy officially, they tell us, they notify all members of the department of who's burning in town and for how many days, and the address. And that way, we usually get toned out, or I get a phone call from our dispatch saying, hey, there's smoke visible, or the smoke is toxic. We've had a few calls this year where somebody has called in and said that, my neighbor's burning something he shouldn't be burning, and it's very toxic, and it's invading my home. Can you please come put it out? My next call is to my fire warden saying, hey, do you have a permit given out to so-and-so? And if you do, we have to go revoke it. So.
One of the things that, like this letter I just got from Jim Edson says, I have interviewed Mr. Scott Stomsky and find him to be a very good candidate. I am enclosing an appointment form with the correct dates. And this reflects the state's approval of the nomination. The commencing date will be filled in when the commissioner signs the form. Ending date reflects the schedule. Mr. Stomsky will finish the existing term, and then in 2021 can be reappointed to a full 5-year term. So we're just fixing the paperwork and fixing the dates. So I'll send this around at the end of the night.
So everybody's still doing their jobs?
You're still doing your job. It's just an extra bonus that both wardens are members of the department.
Correct, because that's not required, is it?
Yeah, it's not required. You could Andy could be the fire warden if you so choose.
Don't let you do anything in this town.
It just, you could be Judy. You could. I mean, there are some occasions, it's, it's not a requirement, not everybody does it, but, to go look at these burn sites and to inspect them, to make sure the people are on the up and up.
Right.
And there's some training and it's an interview, so it's not like you're left naked.
But if it becomes a brush fire, you gotta go out there with us. Any brush fire in the town or wildland fire, the fire warden is right next to the fire department. And if they are a member of it, and they will assist us in fighting the brush or the wildland fire. And we'll have the capability of maybe calling in state resources for us. It's just an extra person to help out, another asset. So,
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here.
yeah.
Any questions on that? That's something we approved, we just need to redo the paperwork, and we'll do that with our usual signing stuff. All right, next thing I have on my list. Got a letter from Karen Emiden. It arrived, I guess. I just saw it yesterday or today, I can't remember. And she's asking that we update the tipping fee. Apparently the list for the tipping fees up at the transfer station is dated. And that someone was confused, and they'd come into her store asking what we really meant. And so we took a look at it, and I think it's dated, I think the original one was dated before we went to the bags.
It's 2010.
Yeah, we went to the colored bag system. And so I think it needs to be updated, that should be easy enough to do. I just want to give everybody a heads up that there was someone asking a question.
Are you talking about things like refrigerators and?
No, the question, the phrase in question was, it said that the household waste was free, which it is free after you purchase the bag. So technically you could make a case for it, but at the same time, if you gotta buy a bag, it's not really free.
Right.
So we just need to clear up that one paragraph. The other question that came up was, do we need to have tipping fees that are split fees, like what we had for, I think a mattress is like $12.
Yes.
How about 15 or 10, as opposed to 12? Because it's complicated with the way the little chip things are. But it's something to think about. And Greg's not here tonight, so we can go over this stuff later on. But I just want to give you a heads up. We have had that concern. And it's maybe other public concerns, but I think she was working and couldn't be here tonight, so I thought I'd bring that up for her. So we will be looking at that.
One thing that happened that I became aware of is somebody came in with a washer dryer, and because of what he read on that list, he thought he could put it in metal. And there was a debate about the fact that it can't go in metal.
Because it's an appliance.
Because it's an appliance.
So maybe we'll have to, that's a good thing to bring up when we start taking a look at it.
Because in fact, you pay for a washer or dryer, but you don't pay for metal.
Right. Yeah. So maybe now that we've had some time to work with that one, a little rough around the edges and spots, we can get that changed. Okay, so I will be getting that to Greg, and we'll take a look at that.
Yeah, question.
Sure.
Is that something you should be reviewing every year, because price to get rid of stuff changes every year?
I don't know.
And it's more work, but
Yeah.
it's just that, your waste prices change every year. Whether it go up or down.
Well, they've certainly been fluctuating since we've been doing
Oh,
this.
yeah, as a matter of fact, it's a major, major problem right now because we can't take the stuff to China anymore. And so consequently, where these things are going are the smaller countries which can't handle it. And we are, at least when I was the supervisor, the issue is that we don't know what to do with it anymore.
Yeah.
So,
One thing that's changed this year, I don't know if you read that the land, can't remember who it is, I don't know if it's Casella or somebody else, but there's a landfill up north that they allowed to expand. There was a lot
oh,
of,
that's Casella.
Yeah.
And I just heard actually yesterday, I think, where Casella has bought TAM, and TAM is our person.
okay.
So right now, we're under Casella.
Yeah.
So
I don't know
maybe-
when that changed.
So recently.
Yeah,
a month.
3 weeks ago it happened.
So
Oh, I
we
know,
need
I was talking to Triple T the other day.
Yeah,
So,
So then we may have to take a look at a lot of things, including the fees and the contracts and stuff. Although I did read that Casella's gonna honor the contract we have with Tame for the immediate period.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I read that, as that came
I
out.
suspect, knowing what I know from my tour of duty, is that our prices are going to go up.
Probably, very seldom will they go down. The good news was when they bought that extra land, or they were allowed to expand, I think.
Yeah.
Alrighty then, let's see. Next item is not on the agenda. We had a question about water survey. And Andy, why don't you go with that?
It's not a water survey, it's,
I mean, I think bridge water, it's to do with the bridge that's on over Depot Street that's going to the
State Park
State Park area.
and some other, a few residents out there. So, I got this from Wyndham Regional,
This being the letter for the survey.
the survey, with an email from Marion Major. I serve on the Wyndham Regional Transportation Committee when I can get down there, as does another Jamaica resident, Joel Blooming. And we were both sent this, and were asked how we could be of service presenting this questionnaire. How could we be helpful with answering it ourselves, obviously, but who else needs to answer? That's my take on it. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's about, just the project summary is, there is a project number, focuses on Truss Bridge 32, that's the Jamaica State Park Bridge, which is in, we know, rough shape, on Town Highway 19 Depot Street in Jamaica. The bridge is in need of either a major maintenance action or replacement. Potential options being considered for this project include a rehabilitation and painting, replacement with a new bridge on the existing alignment, or replacement with a new bridge on a new alignment. Due to the narrow width and the fact that there are no alternative routes, a temporary bridge would be required, I guess, no matter what we do. So that's the beginning of it, and then there's a number of questions.
We got that, I got that letter. The timing was kind of funny because it came at me from a couple of different directions, but the one I got from V-Trans, I gave to gave it to Lexa as the road commissioner. Because it read, as I read it, they're asking the town to give them that information so they can put it in their, and we need to make really clear, this is a real early stage. This is not something that's happening in the next couple of years, or the next couple of months, maybe a couple of years. But I read it as something that the road commissioner needed to answer. And so I gave it to her, and I'm not exactly sure where it is right now that she's back from her trip. But that was my understanding for that.
She asked me today if she should fill it out.
Yeah, I don't know why she asked you if she should fill it out.
Is it the same one?
It's the same exact one, except the one I got came from V-Trans.
Where did this one come from?
I'm not sure, that's.
Perhaps Joel could like to,
It came from V-Trans to Wyndham Regional.
Oh, okay.
And so Marion sent us this copy of the same survey.
It does sound like it's been coming on a couple of different paths.
Right. There's some important things to notice in this. So the very first sentence is really important, the fact that it's now been assigned a project number.
I was thinking that when I saw that.
And
I thought, oh, that's
I
a
have
real
asked
plus.
people, I asked people who were in the know, and they said that was a really good sign.
Yeah.
Because Wyndham Regional did a prioritization last year and prioritized 6 projects, and V-Trans kicked the top 2 off, the first one being in Brattleboro and the second one being this. So the fact that it now has a project number means somebody's finally paying attention to this. And I've been asking questions and getting information from various people who are impacted by this. whoever fills out the survey. It doesn't say who could fill, maybe anybody could fill out the survey.
Well, I would suggest that since it was originally went to the town and then it was copied elsewhere, if you take the way we usually find out on emails and go all the way to the top, where did it start? It started at V-Trans and was parallel sent out to other sources. So they're asking the town, I think, information to Wyndham Regional, information to other sources, but I don't think it's appropriate to ask the population to fill this out.
Well,
Because
the population there are people who are impacted by it.
they are, and I
Certainly
think
have opinions.
I
I don't think they should fill out the survey, but I think that their information should be noted when we fill out, whoever fills out the survey.
Alexa. And so if Alexa wants to gather information by going door to door, then that'd be her prerogative. But at this point, I think it's really not, it's not a survey that's going out to the population and say, how's it going to be impacted? Because a lot of those questions they don't have the answers to, but they might have opinions on. And
They would have the answers to how it impacts them.
and I think that we can do that.
I mean, there are people who live up there who are really, really concerned with the bridge.
Yes. And
And they have a right to have their opinions noted in this, even though they might not fill out the whole survey.
their opinions are certainly welcome.
Right.
I just want to make sure we understand that this needs to be coming from the town.
Well,
And
it's
it needs
a
to, not from the
public
region.
document.
What's that?
It's a public document.
The request from V-Trans to the town is for the town to give the information to them. So I'd like to kind of consolidate all that stuff. Preferably, we'd have Alexa, because she's the road commissioner, gather it and answer the questions. I'll offer to help, and we certainly are willing to take all that information. I'm pretty confident Alexa has a really good grasp on what that bridge being worked on is going to mean to the people on the other side of it.
Yeah, and there are other factors about the bridge, not about the survey, that I've been encouraged to keep pursuing, which is that the Army Corps has some projects, and their projects, if the bridge isn't replaced, would require a temporary bridge. And although it sounded pie in the sky, the people that I know at Wyndham Regional encouraged me to keep pursuing this, which is that the Army Corps could chip in to the V-Trans project if somebody could get them to talk to each other. And which would, first of all, because a temporary bridge is going to cost
Right.
almost as much as a bridge.
Sure.
And the question of alignment on that, where it says a new bridge in alignment or a new bridge
Oh, I
in
saw that.
separate alignment, if it would be easy enough to find a separate alignment, then nobody would have to build a temporary bridge. Because if they build this bridge, they're asking on this survey how it would impact the town. If they build this bridge outright, knock down the bridge and build a new one, there would be no access for a long time, or they would have to build a temporary bridge first,
Which would cost.
which would cost a lot of money. So if they could be coordinated so that the Army Corps and V-Trans, and maybe with the town's encouragement, spoke about this together. I know from people I know who are personal friends on the Army Corps that they're very interested in having this bridge fixed. So with some encouragement, maybe we could get this actually done. Yes, this is preliminary. Probably there's not going to be a new bridge there for 3 to 5 years, but at least it's in the works now and has a project number.
That is encouraging that they're paying attention to it. I just don't want anybody to get hyper excited about this happening in their future.
It's not a matter of excitement, it's a matter of just pursuing it until it gets done, or it's not going to be turned down at this point. It's just when it's going to get done.
Actually, it would be ideal if we could have it at a different site
If
and
that's
still
possible.
use as we are using it today, the old bridge until the other one is completed.
Right, but if you look at the roadway there, where would you,
Yeah,
you know?
Not there.
It's tricky. It's
Yeah.
tricky where you would put a new bridge as opposed to a temporary bridge, which could be anywhere.
right.
But the project summary, I'm not laughing because it's funny, but they cover all the options. And none of them, if I lived across the street, across from that bridge, you know, I had to use that bridge to get to my house. Let me tell you, the deck is a mess all the time. I mean, the guys try to keep up with it. But there's, you know, we all know this. We know the economic impact that the park has on the town and on the state. We have all that information. I have it in emails, Joel probably has it still. And it seems like the more racket we make about it, Joel has been talking about it down in the regional where, you know, they hear, it may get some more attention. Maybe if it's just a year or, I don't really know how, and then there was something about, Joel was telling us about a grant or some money that, you know, would cost us.
Federal land access program.
Yeah.
I
But
don't
that's
know.
only if there's a town component
Right.
to the payment. But we should be filling out that application.
Yeah.
And I think Tom Tolbert has the application. He's
I
aware.
think just filling that out, no matter what happens, just shows that we're,
Somebody on the state transportation committee is also, what's the word, proselytizing this for us. She's also interested in this. So it's going in a lot of different directions.
That's great.
And even Chris Campany and the Wyndham Regional, they're aware of this, they know.
And thank you for shaking the bushes, because you've been doing a lot of that, which
They-
is great.
Yeah.
Wyndham Regional does have, is it 20%?
20%. Well, it's
Throw their-
20% by their choice, by V-Trans choice. They take into consideration what Wyndham Regional says as 20% of their decision making.
Which is,
But that's not in stone. They can do really whatever they want, so.
I'm just saying though that, you know, going down there and keep on bringing it up, even if the committee is getting sick of hearing it, then, you know, I can tell you, walking across that bridge, you have to wait, especially if I got my dog with me.
Your dog.
I can't be caught, I mean, Joel had an idea, I never thought of it, of just walking down the middle of the bridge, but I had been caught where I had to get off to the side, and somebody, if they're not from Vermont,
Yeah.
or maybe they are, you know, I gotta like, hopefully they don't come off the planks and hit me or the dog.
That's only.
Never mind riding a bicycle across it.
That's only a car. If it's a camper
Yeah.
and you're trying to get off, you could be caught by their mirrors or.
Right,
Right.
very true.
Most of the time they'll stop if I,
Yeah.
let me get across.
You have to make them see you.
We did an inspection up there for another committee, and it was interesting watching, it was a Friday afternoon too, when all the campers were starting to come in, and our inspection, even that was having an effect, even though there are no houses there, so it is a major, major issue.
Right. There's another point. Somebody told me, and I haven't confirmed this yet, that a wooden deck bridge is only allowed to hold 8 tons in Vermont. And how much is a water tank weigh?
More than that.
Isn't it
Depending on-
listed as 8-ton now?
Yes.
It's listed as 8 ton, but I modified my firefighting operations to like pumpers and no tankers going across. It means
Yeah.
4-inch line stretched for long distance. Because we can't afford to send multi-million-dollar pieces of equipment across something that might sink.
And multi-million firefighters either.
Well, yeah, I mean, firefighters don't come cheap either.
They're gonna ride the trucks down if it goes down. And the former staff person at Wyndham Regional Transportation assured me that we would get I've said this before, that we would get a bridge if it falls into the river.
You said that to me, Joe.
Engineer.
That,
We
to
don't want
me,
that to happen.
is,
Rather not follow about that.
We'd really not like to see that happen.
that
She said then they.
alters,
Then they'll fix it.
that alters everything. I mean, if we can't be preemptive on this and we reactive to it, and that thing goes into the drink, and what if it's during the summer, and it's busy time, and I gotta evacuate people, and they gotta leave their cars and leave their homes, and you gotta find homes for these people.
How much is a sander weigh?
How much?
The sander.
I don't know. Town runs theirs across. They risk their lives running across.
What they generally do is they put it at the end of their shifts, so they got the least amount of, same thing with oil. They bring it over with the oil at the end of the shift.
They
They can't take a load of firewood into the state park.
Yeah.
The sewer trucks, the garbage trucks are smaller.
Oh, yeah.
You're limiting, it's limiting the thing. You know, what was it, a couple weeks ago, town of Londonderry was brought to them about Lowell Lake expanding. And I was thinking the state has found a way to shut Jamaica down and to open up, put their monies and their efforts to Lowell Lake, to open it up to overnight camping, just in case the bridge fails. You know, I mean, the state is amazingly running that campground, and they're not really complaining about the bridge.
Well, they got a copy of this survey as
Oh,
well.
did they?
So, I mean, that's one of the best parks in the state.
Oh, and
Yeah.
it's revenue.
One of the most popular.
They
That's
got
your local economy.
Sometimes the most popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$2 million a year in fees.
Really?
They are Karen's business.
Huh.
People,
Yes, but they make money for the state. That's my argument against what you're saying about Lowell Lake.
but,
That's a
yeah,
different thing they're talking about up there.
but I didn't know if maybe that was an option or something that might be heading that way. But for local economy, the state park, the workhorse,
Yeah.
is busy during the weekends. I mean, there are people out there eating and it's packed all the way up the street. Supplies to Karen, gas, the wood, you know, all the local vendors that benefit from us having that park there.
So,
Well, we're clearly all on the same page
Yeah.
regarding that bridge. I mean, we all know the situation, it's not good. Those of us who've been on the commission, and there's at least 3 of us, were you, I don't know if you were on that commission once before, I know I was before I got on here. And it's been the same thing. Oh yeah, when it drops into the water, we'll fix it. Well, I don't like that plan, nobody does.
not a good plan.
But if this letter, the very fact that they're asking for our input
Yeah, and it has that
is important.
BO number.
And I think we need to respond to it in the way they intended, get some information. I've asked Lex to look at it, I'll have to talk again in the morning, make sure we're all on the same page. But I think that's the direction, just give them the information. I know it's early stages, but it's still very important information.
Yeah.
Because obviously, as you have pointed out, repairing it or replacing it, it's gonna be a pretty traumatic event.
What would you do with the forest fire? Because you know our weather's changing and the likelihood.
Well, if anything gets going, I mean, we'll probably run portable pumps across, you know, like pumpers, we'll run portable pumps down to the river and we'll just figure it out. You know, kind of wing it a little bit, hand tools, the big heavy trucks, you know, what I plan, any type of fire over there, we drop a water supply point on this side of the river, run 4-inch hose with lighter rigs over to one of our mini pumpers, and we fight with the mini pumper. So we don't have the big pump capabilities, we'll have to fight with a 750 gallon minute pump. You know, we'll make
Yeah,
do.
That other one too.
The hand pumper, yeah, the hand pumper would probably, yeah, if the weight limit drops, the thing. But, you know, that's under my term as being fire chief. Maybe, you know, elections are coming up, if somebody else takes fire chief, they may devise a different plan. They may be willing to run their equipment
They're
across.
not gonna let you go so easy.
Yeah,
We've now gone completely off the rails.
yeah, but,
Yes, yeah,
we'll deal with it.
I'm
Chief.
sorry?
Can I make a suggestion? What if anyone that had input for these surveys
Sure.
filled them out and sent them here, then we could compile them all, take the
Yeah.
best information and send it to the state.
Well, we'll give it to Alexa, she is the
Right.
contact in the state in this regard.
But then everybody could have an input, but then
Okay,
she
which-
could still make sure that it's all relevant
Yes.
information.
Especially suggestions. We all know the problem. What we need is suggestions on what to do with it. Certainly, they can come into the town office, we gather, Alexa can use that to help put her response together. Yes, okay.
Build a tunnel,
What's that?
build a tunnel.
There is one section of this, communications on page 3, the bottom. It's just to identify any local communication outlets that are available for use in communicating with the local population about this, I guess. Include weekly or daily newspaper, blogs, radio, public access, TV, Facebook, front page forum, etc. Also include any unconventional means such as low power FM. I think that might mean while they're fixing it, I'm not sure.
when I read that, I think that when they start to do this, they're gonna wanna know what media are available for them to communicate to the
Okay.
public about what's going on.
Then the second part is what I really wanted to read. Other than people / organizations already referenced in this questionnaire, are there any others who should be kept in the loop as the project moves forward?
Yeah. So they're not
It's
just
not really
asking
moving.
for
Yeah,
a few,
it's
Certainly
moving.
anybody impacted
yeah.
by this.
That's something we
Well,
will figure out
certainly.
anyway.
Sure, and then eventually, they are gonna wanna be in communication as they make their plans, get closer and what's gonna happen. Then they're gonna be a media flood, because that's gonna cause a lot of disruption, so they'll need to be able to hit all the, all the little communication networks we have, we can make that up. But,
Okay.
it's gonna be, when it happens, it's gonna be a difficult time, but nonetheless, it has to happen. And the difficult time pales comparison how difficult it would be should it fail us.
Now, this is a hopeful sign,
Hopeful signs are always welcome.
yes.
The next item is public concerns. Do we have any public concerns? We have no concern public?
We already
And-
said our
I
concern.
think the concerns have been mentioned. Therefore, I would take a motion.
I move that we adjourn.
Second?
I have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any?
Aye.
Aye, good. We'll call it
You were in a very powerful position.
7:52. We stand adjourned.